Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So my most popular video is this video here, talking about the arm drag system with a great picture of Marcelo Garcia. In this video, we talked about how Marcelo likes to use the arm drag to enter into takedowns from standing position, also to take the back from standing position, and to implement the arm drag from seated as well to take down and take the back, but also to enter into single leg X and X guard, which are other very well-known positions, largely due to his success with those positions. So we just talked about the system that Marcelo Garcia created around the arm drag. And since then, my understanding of the arm drag has grown tremendously, and I wanted to share with you guys some of the new ways I've been using the arm drag and some insights that I've come to understand. So the goal of this video is to provide new insights to the arm drag position. And first, we're going to talk about head position. And this is something that I have literally never seen a jiu-jitsu person talk about. I heard it first from my instructor, and I'm not really sure where he got it, but I had to go to some wrestler breakdowns to find content for this video. So this is something that I think is very insightful and was very revolutionary to me when it comes to the goal of the arm drag and where to put your head based on that goal. So that hopefully you guys will find that to be new content for you, something that you've never seen before. And then two, I wanted to talk about the arm drag from half guard. And this is where I have been using the arm drag a lot recently. It's a very dynamic technique, the arm drag, and it can be used from a lot of different positions. And half guard is one where I think it's very easy to get to, and it's there quite often, and it's very effective. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Please subscribe, please share, and let's get into it. So first, we're going to talk about head position. So a classic dilemma that we should always be trying to present to our partner is either threatening their center line or threatening their back. And you see this in wrestling, you see this in judo, you see this in boxing, you see this from the guard in jiu-jitsu, you see this from standing position in jiu-jitsu, you see this from a lot of different scenarios, right? And this is really important when talking about the arm drag, because the arm drag can be used to take the back, but it can also be used to set up wrestling and expose our opponent's center line. And the way we determine which one we want to achieve is our head position. And this is something that I had never seen before and really blew my mind. In this scenario, Marcelo is using the arm drag to set up his wrestling. He takes the grip here, arm drag, his head goes to the outside, and he grabs this single leg here and finishes the takedown. Now in this scenario here, the wrestler takes the arm drag grip and his head goes to the inside, goes right in this pocket right here, like right above the collarbone, and he chases the back. So it's kind of counterintuitive, right? If your head goes to the outside, you're setting up your wrestling. If your head goes to the inside, you're chasing the back. Now we'll see here, Gordon Ryan does the arm drag and his head is on the outside. So based on what we just saw, he should be going into some sort of takedown, right? As his opponent is trying to square up to him, it makes sense to do that takedown. Because in order to take your opponent's back here, Gordon needs to get to this far hip, right, to successfully get to the back. You can see here with the wrestler, when his head's on the inside, he's able to get to this far hip over here. But when I play this video, when Gordon tries to chase that far hip, you'll see his opponent is able to square up with him. So if we watch that one more time, he tries to chase the far hip, and his opponent squares up with him. Now you can see his center line is completely exposed. That is exactly why, if your head's on the outside, it's easy for your opponent to square up to you. And as they square up to you, that's when you shoot in for a takedown, right? It makes perfect sense, but it's very counterintuitive when you initially hear it. And you can see Gordon kind of fakes this little shot here. But yeah, he's kind of taking it easy, I think. And here we'll see Gary Tonin from the bottom. He'll come up. His head goes to the outside, and he tries to get to this far hip, takes his opponent down, chasing the back, but his opponent is able to kind of recover guard, and they end up in kind of this leg drag scenario here, which isn't bad at all for Gary. It's a really good turn of events, right? But I believe the reason why Gary wasn't able to fully secure the back is because when he came up, his head was on the outside, and that gave his opponent the ability to square up more than Gary would have liked, and he wasn't able to get control of that far hip as much as he would have liked to. So just one last time here. If you want to take the back, your head goes to the inside. That way you can get to that far hip and successfully take the back. Now, let's talk about half guard. I think it's a very great position to hit an arm drag from, but first let's talk about just what we need to get an arm drag, right? The idea behind an arm drag is it's very good when your opponent's hand is below their elbow. So in this scenario, Gordon's opponent is trying to grab his feet, which is perfect. His hand is below his elbow, which leads perfectly into an arm drag. Now, the way your opponent is going to stop this is as you go for the arm drag, they're going to bring their hand above their elbow. So you'll see Gordon tries to shove it down. He brings his hand up. As long as their hand is above their elbow, the arm drag is going to be tough to get, if not impossible. So it's a good grip when their hand is below their elbow. Now, I've always thought of grip fighting as something that is more like explosive, and you have to be very quick in your grip fighting, right? You have to be faster than them. You have to be one step ahead of them to win in the grip fight. But from half guard, your opponent is in kind of a neutral position, right? They're going to be more inclined to be using their hands to try and pass your guard, right? Or darce you or do whatever, you know? So from a more neutral position like half guard, it tends to be a much less intense grip fight. So you'll see here, Gordon is very lackadaisical in the way he enters into this arm drag. Just gonna boom, boom, and now he's got an arm drag grip. You know, so it tends to be from a neutral position like half guard, tends to be easier to get this grip. Now, there are many different types of half guard. We're initially just going to talk about a knee shield, and then we're going to get to the fun stuff with butterfly half. So here is the knee shield. And like I said, your opponent is going to be using their hands to do things. And they might be bringing their hand across your center line to go into things like chokes, like darce chokes and things like that. So when you see this, it's relatively easy just to grab their arm in the arm drag grip, rock up, and go into a sweep or a back take, depending on whether or not you can get to that far hip. Now again, from a knee shield situation, if they resist, you can sit them up and go into like a Russian arm close guard scenario, which is awesome. Let's get to the fun stuff, the butterfly half guard situation. So we have butterfly half guard, we have an arm drag grip on the far side here. As Gordon elevates his opponent this way, his opponent pretty much has three options. One, they fall and Gordon gets a sweep. Two, they base out with their legs this way to accommodate the movement. Three, they base out with their arms, and we're going to talk about all of those in this video. And this is honestly my favorite thing to do right now is this sequence here. So as Gordon elevates in this scenario, you'll see his opponent just falls over. Now, we talked about the next scenario when your opponent decides to use their legs to prevent themselves from falling. If you're in a butterfly half guard, you cannot knee slice because the knee slice puts you right into cross ashigarami, like we talked about in the previous video. So by Gordon doing the arm drag and his opponent accommodating that movement by using their legs, as soon as this leg right here, this back leg, the left leg of Gordon's opponent, hops over Gordon's leg, he's right into inside Senkaku. So if your opponent decides to hop over your leg, shoot into inside Senkaku. And we just did an intro video on inside Senkaku, and I'll leave that link at the end of the video so you guys can click on that. But I want you to keep watching this video for the time being. Third scenario is we go into the arm drag, and our opponent uses their hand to accommodate the movement. This hand here. So this was the initial hand that the arm drag was on, and when Gordon was elevating this way, his opponent put his hand on the ground up here to accommodate that movement. And anytime you have extension of a limb, Gordon is able to capitalize on that very, very quickly. And that's when he goes into his famous shoulder crunch sweep on Buchecha here in ADCC. So a couple other things. If your opponent is just like super resistant and is very intent on standing up, you can always just follow them up and either go into your wrestling or take their back, but that's when the head position comes into play, right? Or the arm drag is a very dynamic grip, right? So if your opponent is standing up, you can push their hand between their legs as you pull with the tricep grip. And that makes it so their head is in front of their toes. And if their head's in front of their toes, you can go into things like sumigashi, and in this situation, tried to go into a Tikimura position. Didn't end up working out, but pretty cool. The things you can do with the arm drag grip. So hope you guys enjoy the video. Please like, please subscribe, please share, and thank you all for your support, and we'll see you next time.